For richer, for poorer, for sickness and in health, whether you drive me crazy or not. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of the Hadisa Diaries, Confessions of a Mad Fat Black Woman. And as you guys already know by now, my name is Hadisa. As you can clearly see, I am a woman of colour, I am a larger lady, and I have, for want of a better word, issues with my mental health. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Obviously this is the Hadisa Diary, so you hear a lot of me talking all the time. But I kind of wanted to show something from a little bit from my family's point of view and particularly my fiance's perspective of living with somebody that has anxiety, severe anxiety and depression and such, and what it's sort of like for him on a day-to-day basis. What it's like for him to be living with the love of his life and also the bane of his life, because that's how I do. So what I've done is just sort of like, he's come up with a bunch of I've come up with a bunch of questions and stuff, and I've just randomly asked him about different points of the day, just to give you guys kind of insight into what it's like to sort of, you know, if you guys have people in your life or are living with people in your life that have these kind of things, or you start going out with somebody that have these things and stuff and you just don't really know how to deal with it. I mean, everybody's different, but this is kind of how Simon deals with me. Sort of like just a bit of an insight, just sort of like a different sort of perspective, and maybe you guys are getting sick of me talking, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, so yeah, I guess take it away, Simon. Hey, Si.
What?
How do you identify my panic attacks?
What?
How do you identify my panic attacks?
Depends on the panic attack that you're having.
I need you to be more specific.
Well, if it's your angry one, it's not quite as easy to tell, because sometimes it just looks like you're angry. Why are you doing this now?
For scientific research.
And we need to film this.
It's for the blog, stupid.
Right, okay. Yeah, if it's your angry one, it's difficult to tell. If it's your cry one, for lack of a better word, it's usually a build-up, and usually something really small that sort of kicks it off or triggers it. Like if you can't find your keys.
Hey, losing keys is really traumatic for me.
Yeah, yeah, it is. We won't tell them at the time that I lost my keys.
Why? It's funny.
It really isn't. If there was ever a trigger for onset dementia, that's it. Yeah, it's usually something really small that sort of triggers everything, and then once it sort of happens, you're moving about the place, or you're stomping about the place. It's all doom and gloom, and as far as you're concerned, everything, the world has ended. Because
I lost my keys, so the world did end, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are your keys, babe?
I don't know. Why would you do that? That's really horrible. I'm going to leave you alone now. Okay. That was really mean.
Okay, love you.
Hey, Si.
Yeah?
What's the most difficult thing about being in a relationship with somebody who has anxiety and depression?
We're doing another one of these, are we?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the question? What was the most difficult thing about living with someone with anxiety and depression?
Just being in a relationship with them.
Or being in a relationship with them, okay. I don't know. Quite a lot of it's difficult.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I suppose one of the most difficult things, because I say there's quite a lot that can be difficult about it, is obviously just feeling that there's not a lot that I can do to help. For example, we talked about this before, I think, at one point, where your panic attack, I can't do anything whilst you, or I can do very little whilst you're having the panic attack. I kind of have to sort of sit with you and make sure you don't hurt yourself or do anything, you know, silly. And then after you sort of come out of it, then I can do a bit more to help. You know, make sure you're okay and obviously talk to you a bit about it. But whilst you're in it, and even when you're in like a depressive mode or mood, you know, very little can be said to sort of get you out of that funk. You sort of have to come out of it on your own, and then obviously I can do a bit more to help you. But I suppose that's probably one of the most difficult things, because that can last quite a while.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I go back to the kitchen now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Si.
Yeah.
Describe a typical day living with me and my mental health issues.
Well, they've certainly got a lot more interesting since you started filming everything.
What?
A typical day living with you and your issues.
Issues.
It's not that different from... Excuse me. It's not that different from any other day, to be honest. Your issues only start to become an issue when you're having like a particularly bad moment or like a funky moment. Like if you're like in a particularly depressive phase or anything like that. But generally speaking, you're fine. There's nothing there that would be different from any other day. Really? It's maybe not the answer you're looking for, but I've just got to be careful. I've got to be aware and mindful of when you are in these moods or sort of moments that it is the smallest of things, like we always say, it's the smallest of things that can cause it to become a massive issue. So as long as I'm aware of that, and I'm getting better at becoming aware of that, I think, yeah, it's fine. Day to day is fine.
That was really descriptive.
I like to think so, yeah. Dr. Simon, MD, PhD.
None of those things.
None of those things. No.
Right, I'm gonna shut it off now.
Okay. Okay.
Bye, you too. Bye.
Uh-huh.
What are you doing?
I was going to try and cook us dinner.
What are you making?
Chicken curry. Oh,
Hey, Sam.
filming.
Yep. What would you say is the biggest thing you've learnt about somebody that has anxiety and depression, since being in a relationship with me, or like something that you thought they'd be like, or whatever? Also, say hello to the camera because you're in my shot. Hi.
Yeah.
No, speak to me.
I am speaking to you, but I've got knives in my hands.
Answer the question.
So, the biggest thing that I've learned is that it requires patience. Because anxiety and depression doesn't always have a logical reason behind it. Doesn't need a logical reason behind it. And the more you try and figure it out, the more you try and put something behind it, excuse me, the more you're just going to frustrate yourself and probably frustrate the person with the anxiety and depression.
What did you think about people that had depression before you met me, and what do you think of them now?
Generally, I think I had not really met anyone with depression before my mum had it, but she was very, very good at hiding it from us because we were the kids and she didn't want us to have to deal with that, which is fine, you know, a lot of people deal with it that way. But my view of depression was that generally just people were very sad. I didn't realise that there was another side to it whereby you can be exceptionally happy. Or not happy, I suppose is not necessarily the correct term, but
Over the top.
over the top, yeah.
Pepper.
Manic. Generally. Yeah.
Did you think that somebody that had depression would be as open about it as I was with you?
Didn't really think about it from that point of view, to be honest.
Because I pretty much told you straight away.
Oh yeah, first date.
First few minutes into the date.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotta let you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, I think I told you pretty much on our first date as well that I had autism and stuff, didn't I?
Yeah, I think so.
If it wasn't the first date, it was probably the second. It was certainly one of the two, anyway. So we were both pretty upfront about it, and I think that's quite important as well, that if you are getting into a relationship with someone and you've got mental health, that you do tell them, because it's... If you don't tell them, and then all of a sudden you have for lack of a better term, an episode, it can be quite frightening. They're not expecting that, they don't know where that's come from. Whereas if you told them up front and they can kind of rationalise and go, alright, okay, they've got this, depression, autism, schizophrenia, or whatever, you know, helps the other person. If you're getting into a relationship, as cliched as it might sound, it's not a one-way street. Chili powder.
Do you want me to leave you alone now?
I would like you to help.
I have to cook.
Yes.
Fine.
You like cooking.
Bye.
Well,
What advice would you give to somebody who's starting a relationship with somebody who has mental health issues?
so if you're going to start a relationship with someone who has mental health issues and you know about them, read up on it as much as possible. Educate yourself as much as possible. If they've not told you that they've got mental health issues, but you know that they do, just be diplomatic about it. Be very much aware that, you know, it could be very embarrassing for them. Not that it should be, but so, you know, there's that the whole stigma that Disa talks about. So just be very much aware of it and try to work with the person. Okay, we're now going to go out and do some sparklers.
Sparklers! Yay, Oliver! Hey, Si. Do you find dealing with anxiety or depression or my disordered eating more difficult for you?
Your anxiety.
Why?
Because your anxiety it's not as easy to predict or control your anxiety, whereas with things like your depression, I kind of know what you're doing. You know, when you're going through your depressed phases, you know, I know what to do, and you know, it's easier to sort of see where that's going. With your disordered eating, yeah, we just put things in. For you, it's easier for me to sort of deal with just purely because I can put things in place to make sure that you're comfortable eating and, you know, you're comfortable with what you're eating. Whereas your anxiety, not so much, because it can be brought on by the smallest of things. Like, we always use the sort of example of you losing your keys. It's very difficult to sort of see where that comes from or when that's going to happen, and yeah, that's maybe not the best answer in the world, but I'm afraid it's the one you're going to have to go with.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Bye. Here we go. Bye.
I'm in a state of undress. Why are we doing this now? Flying everywhere.
What would you say to people that say it's impossible to have a normal relationship with people that have mental health problems?
I'd say normal is for amateurs.
I want to expand on it.
It's not impossible to have a normal relationship with people with anxiety and depression. It all depends on how you deal with it. Not just the person suffering from it, but the person who's in the relationship as well. But you need to accept that anxiety and depression is going to become part of your normal. It's going to become part of everyday life. And unless you're willing to make that sacrifice, then you're never going to have a happy relationship. Because there will be times when they will make you angry, there will be times when you're frustrated, there will be times when you don't know what's going on, you're not going to know whether you're coming or going. But as long as, despite all of that, you're happy, in the grand scheme of things, having a normal relationship is boring. It is. I like having a sassy black woman who's about ready to go and flip her nut just because Selfridges don't have a sale on. And I prefer it if she wasn't spending my fucking money in Selfridges, but you know, we do what we do. We happy with that answer?
I guess so. Shall we go to bed?
I would like to go to bed. I've got my belly hanging out. No one wants to see that on YouTube. Look at my belly!
I'm keeping it in.
No, you're not.
So yeah, I hope that gives you guys a bit more insight into sort of how we function as a unit and as a sort of like family, and how Simon sort of deals with me. That's not like the best sort of phrase deals with me. But yeah, how he sort of like, you know, copes and sort of, again, I don't like that phrase either. Yeah, but you know what I mean, in terms of like how we go about our day-to-day life. And if this has helped you, then that's great, you know, in terms of if you have somebody in your life that has these sort of things, and that's great. If it hasn't, it hasn't. Like I say, just showing you sort of different perspective, kind of, you know, stopping me from rambling at you constantly, because I don't know if that bores you guys or not. Please always just let me know. Any feedback is good feedback. I'm trying to make this as interactive as possible, just like I say, because obviously I'm trying to break the stigma more, get it more out there, that sort of thing. And when we talk about mental health, obviously we always talk about the person who has the mental health, which is obviously important because they're the one that actually has the mental health issues. There's that word again. But also we don't really talk about the family and how it can have effects on the family and the people around them, and it can be quite trying. I know that I'm not the easiest person to live with when I'm well. So I know that obviously it's quite difficult for Simon anyway, because I'm naturally just quite a demanding person, because that's just how I am. But yeah, so yeah, just a bit more of insight of that sort of thing. So I hope you guys have sort of taken stuff away from that. Again, like, if you guys have other ways that, you know, you deal with stuff and you think that would be helpful, please feel free to comment below. I will always listen, and so I will always listen to anything you guys have got to say, because I don't want it to be just me sort of being preachy and stuff. This is not what this channel's about. It's just trying to, you know, get more stuff out there, that sort of thing. I'm rambling again, and the point of this video was so you wouldn't see as much of me rambling. But there we go. So I'm going to sign off. As always, if anything in this video has helped you or not helped you, or you want to talk to somebody about anything, feel free to message me, send an owl, put a message in the bottle, you know, just shout really loud, maybe I'll hear you. But yeah, just feel free to DM me or contact me about anything you're going through. But as I always say as well, I'm not professional, so things that help me might help me, but they might not help you. So I also can't diagnose you, so I will always leave numbers for contact details of people that can get you the help that you need if you do need professional help. I'm not saying that you do, obviously it's your journey, but the help is there for yourself if you need it. And as always guys, remember, it may be cliche, but it's okay not to be okay. You have a lovely day. Bye.